Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here, returning to you for a premiere video, and hopefully you will enjoy this Sum 41 Heaven and Hell album review, the 8th and final studio album that we're getting in their discography, and it is their send-off record for Heaven and Hell. So I'm going to discuss what I listened to for all 20 songs for the Heaven side and the Hell side, and let you know my thoughts on this record overall for all 20 tracks. So let's dive into this album review. Now it starts with the third single, Waiting on a Twist of Fate, and it is the first track on the record, and awesome track, by the way. I really enjoyed this track when the single came out, and I was really stoked for this track. It came out a little early on a leak, but a little too early, like over a week early. But still, great song, by the way. And I had to postpone the track review to like a week later. I had to fix things up with that review, but still, I got the review out, and hopefully it was entertaining to you guys, because it did get quite a bit of viewership, which thank you so much for that, by the way. But 5 out of 5 for Waiting on a Twist of Fate. Landmines was the first single for the record. I wasn't sure if I was pleased with it at first, because I was like, it's average. It could have been better. But it's grown on me a lot more throughout time. I've grown to actually think this is a pretty good track in its own way. I wouldn't say one of my favorite songs, but there are some moments in the track where the lyric writing is a little off for this one. But still, it tried, and it succeeded. It succeeded in its own way. So 4.75 out of 5. I Can't Wait was one of the regular songs for the Heaven side of this record, and off the bat, great track. I really enjoyed this track, and sounds like classic Sum 41 for the pop punk stuff, and pretty interesting of a track, so 5 out of 5. Time Won't Wait had some hit or miss lyrics, but the track itself was really outstanding, in my own opinion. With the melody and just the way Derek Wilby is singing the track, it excelled pretty well for this track. So 5 out of 5 for this one. Great track, by the way. Future Primitive is another track that's like 2 minutes. To answer the question, the 3 tracks I'm talking about are 2-minute tracks. One's 2 minutes and 5 seconds. The other one's 2 minutes and 30 seconds, which was Time Won't Wait. I Can't Wait was 2 minutes and 5 seconds. And finally, Future Primitive is like 2 minutes and 12 seconds, so it's not very long. But still, great songs, by the way. 5 out of 5 for all 3 of those tracks for I Can't Wait, Time Won't Wait, and Future Primitive. Dopamine is my least favorite. I don't really think I like this track. I think it's solid for what it goes for, but the intro is kind of weak with how Derek Wilby is singing the track, so this is kind of So 4.5 out of 5. I don't hate the song. I think it has its strong points as the song progresses, but the intro is the least favorite, and it brings the rating down a little bit. Not Quite Myself is another least favorite. I don't hate it, but I don't think it's one of my favorite tracks, but I think it's solid for what it is, so 4.5 out of 5. Bad Mistake is a pretty good song in its own way. I think Derek Wilby's vocal tone is actually really good, with his vocal range sounding really good, and just the execution of the track did pretty good in its own way, with the drum work, guitar work, and the melody, production, and mixing. So 4.75 out of 5. Johnny Libertine is a great track. It's only a minute and a half, minute and 35 seconds, but very well executed with the fast drum work. And honestly, Derek will be singing pretty fast in it. It sounds like classic Sum 41, so pretty much 5 out of 5. Radio Silence is the closing track for the Heaven version of this album. the first half, and off the bat, it's pretty good. So I really dig it. 5 out of 5. Good closing track for the Heaven version for the first half of the record. So pretty good. Then we get to Preparasi al Salire, if I'm pronouncing it right. I'm not sure, but it's the intro track for the Hell version, and off the bat, it's pretty good. And it leads into the next song, Rise Up. So 5 out of 5. Rise Up, great track. Really enjoyed this song for how it's well executed with the fast-paced drum work, and just the guitar work and the solo is really good from the guitarist. Really enjoyed it. Great way to start off the second half of the record. 5 out of 5. Stranger in These Times, pretty good track. Definitely fast-paced too with the drum work. I'm actually digging the Hell side a lot more, in my opinion. I mean, the Heaven side is pretty good, but there are some execution flaws with certain tracks on the Heaven side, which I know that's what their intention was to go for. A lighter side of the record being the first half, and the more dark and heavier side on the final half. So pretty much Stranger in These Times is a 5 out of 5. Really enjoyed this track. Very well executed. I Don't Need Anyone is a great track for sure. It has a few reminiscence of some older Sum 41 heavy tracks, but still pretty strong of a record, of a song, in my opinion. 5 out of 5. Over the Edge, great track. Really enjoyed it. And this is a 5 out of 5 too. Derek Wilby's singing vocals are quite outstanding, and just how it's very well executed with the guitar work and drum work is what impressed me with this track. House of Liars, great song. I really like this track. Pretty much Derek Wilby's singing vocals are pretty outstanding, and this is a great song. Definitely something to headbang to. 5 out of 5. You Wanted War is a pretty good track. I mean, it does have its repetitive moments with the chorus, but it still sounds very well executed with how the song's playing out for 3.5 minutes. So 5 out of 5. Paint It Black is a Rolling Stones cover, and their version is pretty good. I really enjoyed this version. Even the original is a classic. Keep in mind, it's from back in the day, from the 60s. I wasn't born in that era, but I will say I was born in 95, so I'm a millennial, but still. The original track is great from the Rolling Stones, and this cover version is great, and a lot more fast-paced, but still on point, and very well executed with Derek Wilby's singing vocals. So I think he did well with this track. 5 out of 5. It's All Me is a 2-minute and 18-second track. It's the second to last song before we get to an epic finale for the record, which I have a lot of good things to say about how the end begins in just a second. So It's All Me is a great song. Short for what it goes for, but efficient. And it really packs a punch, this track, with the fast-paced drum work and guitar work sounding really good, and Derek Wilby's singing vocals being very well executed. 5 out of 5. And finally, the closing track, How the End Begins. So this is the closing track and the send-off for the band's final record. Great song. I love this track so much. Definitely props to Derek Wilby and the other bandmates for making this song flow, sound really good, production-wise and mixing-wise, and off the bat, one of the best tracks to close this record for all of the record. So, great send-off track for their career, and I think this is a track, it almost sounds like Twisted by Design in its own way from the 13 Voices record, but in a different twist is what it's going for. Different kind of melody execution in a good way. So, great track, great send-off track for this record, and 5 out of 5. Overall, production, mixing, and execution-wise, I found myself really enjoying this record. This is one of their best and final records and good send-off record for their career. And thank you so much, Sum 41, for all the memorable albums you have given us over the years. And you will be remembered, and hopefully something happens along the road where you decide to reunite again. I don't know. It's up to Derek Wilby and the other band members if they decide to. But I know he wants to pursue other things in his career. Derek Wilby does, like solo stuff, which that's fine. I mean, go for it. Do whatever makes you happy, for sure. And music is definitely a great passion to really be inspired by and live by, mostly. So basically, I think Derek Wilby and the bandmates gave us great material for the 2010s era. I mean, I will say that the 2016 record was kind of a way to talk about his rehab and his sobriety, because he was getting clean and sober from all the drinking he was doing. So yeah, I will say there were some good moments for the late 2010s for Sum 41's records. For 13 Voices, I think Order and Decline was one of my favorites. And now, I would say Order and Decline's better than this, but I would say this is a great send-off record if you want to hear a good Sum 41 record for 55 minutes and some seconds. So you're in for quite a lengthy record, and I think this is one of their best records to date. I wouldn't say better than Order and Decline, but it's still pretty good in its own way. It's a pretty good record. So, first score for me, I'm giving Sum 41's Heaven and Hell album for their send-off album for their career an 8.5 out of 10. Pretty good album. There were a few least favorite tracks for this record on the Heaven side of the record, but the Hell side was excellent, honestly. It was one of my favorite second half parts to the record that sounded really good. But overall, great send-off record, and thank you so much, Sum 41, for all the music you've given us over the years, and hopefully something down the road comes to your liking in your career, and definitely pursue it. I highly recommend it. So, 8.5 out of 10 for Sum 41, Heaven and Hell. Hopefully you enjoyed this premiere video, and like I said, thank you so much, Sum 41, and hopefully you have good things happening in your future endeavors for your music career, and thanks for watching this album review tonight.